Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tronage, and today we're going to be talking about FPV crate for March 2020. Want to see what's inside this box? I know I do. You're going to have to stick around. When I unboxed the February FPV crate, I did a little disclaimer and a little talk about the COVID-19 virus that's affecting all of us pretty much everywhere you are. And if you want to check that out, you can check out the link up in the corner there. And basically, I just talked about precautions that I was taking specifically because that package was coming from overseas. However, now we're sort of in a little bit of a different predicament being a month later. Now it's rampant everywhere, and especially in the area that I am in. I'm in northern New Jersey, right on the border of New York, and New York is sort of like a major hotspot for the United States. And the northern part of New Jersey, where Bergen County is where I'm from, is like the next in line kind of thing, because we're sort of like the suburb to New York City. So pretty much people come and go, and it's getting kind of out of control. So that being said, for just even everyday items like mail, I've been taking certain precautions, and that is like when a box comes, the precautions that I'm doing is as it arrives, I take it out of its outside packaging and throw that away. I don't even bring that inside the house. Anything that's inside, I bring inside and I let it sit for about 24 hours. So that's where we are now. However, the contents of this box are yet to be opened and discovered. So therefore, just as a precautionary measure, I will be wearing my gloves like I was in the previous video. Do you need to take these measures? That choice is yours. These are just the measures that I will be taking. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be cracking this box open. We're going to take a look at what's inside. I'm going to give you my genuine reactions about what I see. And then we're going to do a cost analysis to see, is the value there? What did you pay for? How much is this worth? And that sort of thing. But before we do any of that, make sure you slam that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit the bell icon. Keeps you in the know when I post videos like this one. It helps support the channel, and it's completely free. So it's like win-win for everybody, all right? So why don't you go do that? All right. With that out of the way, let's dig in. Yes, we got our FPV crate for March. And one thing I'm really excited about as I flip it over, my sticker that I love to cut. All right, let's do this and see if it's, yes, nice. That was wonderful. I needed that. February didn't have that sticker, and I kind of was missing it. All right, let's get a little pre-open on this flap. Let's get everything going. You ready? Because I'm dying to know what's inside. Here we go. Okay, so we have our little cheat sheet first. Let me just pull out this sticker sheet, and let's just take a look at that. That's pretty cool. A lot of Team Black Sheep action going on. You know, kind of, if you want to look up close, that's all like Team Black Sheep logos, all in the FPV crate shape. Cool stuff. Can't complain. And back to that heavier duty. The other one was very flimsy from February, so this is back to that heavy duty. I mean, for all I know, it could be the cardboard, not even the vinyl that's that thick, but at least this feels, you know, robust. Yeah, I know I'm spending a whole bunch of time on a sticker sheet, but I will, dang it. All right, we have some packing bubble wrap. We'll move that out of the way. Ooh, there's like lots of stuff here. So let's go for the props first, because they're always not as interesting. So, but the props still. So we got the HQ props. We have 3 packs of them. One's blue, 2 are like a smoke black color. Let's just see if they're all the same. So they're all the same. I did get 1 blue and 2 of this smoke black color. Pretty cool stuff. It's HQ Prop, one of my go-to brands. If you want to see the sticker information on it, there you go. But they're the 5 by 4.3, so they're a 50-40. Yeah, a 50-43 is what I would call them. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna go with this purpley thing, just because it's kind of cool. Okay, so here's what this is. I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be stuck down or not, but I don't know if you can see or not, but you know, I'll open this up so you can get a better look at what's going on here. But this is basically when you're working on a quad, you have to put somewhere for your screws and whatnot. This is what you would use. And I'm guessing, yeah, this is basically a magnet. So if you had like a little screw and you put it down, it will hold it in place. I don't happen to have any kind of screw just randomly laying around. All right, so I went and got a screw that I would consider to be, you know, kind of your average screw that you'd use in a quad. And let's see how it sticks to this magnet. So it does stick to it, but you can see it still rolls around, so it doesn't hold it still, and it will fall out. You can see it's not a very strong magnet that to keep things from spilling out, which is the whole purpose of this magnet in the first place. So in contrast, the reason why I'm showing you this is just for contrast. One of the other box, it may have even been FPV crate, I don't know, but at one of the boxes, maybe quad box, maybe drone drop, I don't know off the top of my head, we got this magnetic bowl, and this is the type that are really good because when you put this in here, you'll hear it like snap, and like it doesn't come out. It's in there. I can, you know, it's stuck in there. So this is the type that, you know, if you don't want to lose your things and you're working out in the field, let's say you're working, like you have a crash, you gotta take something apart, you put your screws in here, and then your buddy comes over and knocks it around and drops it, you know, your screws are safe in this type. This type, I don't really, you know, it just kind of falls out. So cool concept. I definitely love the color, but I'm gonna continue to use this one because this, I know my screws will be secure no matter how I throw them in there. So this is the type I like. I don't remember which box we got it in, but that's what I'm going to continue to use. And for reference, even in the box, it's still, like, that's how strong it is. In the box, it's still grabbing that screw and won't let go. So, anywho, that's neither here nor there. Let's continue going on here. So we got this little guy here, and it says FPV crate, Crater 46. All right, so in little print here on the top, it's really, you know, hard for me to see at least. It's a 4-in-1 ESC, BL Heli 32, D-Shot 1200, continuous 46 amp, burst 55 amp, 20 seconds, input 3 to 6S, MCU ARM 32-bit Cortex. Hope I read that correctly. If you want to read it for yourself, there it is. It's really hard to read, but it's that orange text there at the top. But basically, we got a 4-in-1 ESC, and I'm betting, since we got that T-Motor rebranded FPV crate flight controller, I'm gonna bet that this is the matching ESC, which would also explain why in the cheat sheets we got this little piece of information. So I didn't look at it carefully until just now, but it's basically telling you, you make sure you use the included cable because I'm guessing something may go wrong if you don't. So keep that in mind when using these. But what's nice is now we have the flight controller and the matching ESC for a build with a little bit of extra information about how to hook things up, which is really awesome. Next up, we have a shirt, which is a little unusual. It's not the norm, but I still love me some shirts. So let's see, how does this bag even open? This is now your ASMR portion of the video. So it's kind of like the sticker sheet was, where it's basically the FPV crate concept of the hexagons and the Team Black Sheep logos in them. However, what I will say is the quality of this is not very good. What I mean by that is, like, I don't know if you can tell, but the print looks like, it makes my eyes wig out. It's like not crisp, It's like to make black, they had to like layer on, like, you see how like you can see like blue edges of stuff, and it's like they had to like layer on stuff, and it wasn't, they didn't just silk screen black. Like I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. Is there something on the back too? No, there's not. Okay. But like this here, like, I don't know if it's gonna pick up, but it just like, it doesn't look like it's printed right. It's got like very soft edges with like a blue tinge haloing around it, like there's overspray or something, and it doesn't look like it's intentional. You know, I don't think this was like a silkscreen shirt. I think this might have been when they do the rapid print. It's kind of like an inkjet printer, but it prints on t-shirts. And you know, there's just, I don't know, it's just something about like the black looks just really like fuzzy gray. I don't know, like it doesn't just look like nice solid black. It looks like it's like fuzzy, like the black didn't cover. I don't know, maybe I'm getting too critical. I mean, I like the design, I don't know, the print quality just doesn't feel like it's there. It just looks like it's like not, you know, like the black's not lining up with the white, and everything has kind of like a weird blue tinge to it, and it's like blurry, and it's kind of like bugging out my eyes a little bit. But that's just me. Maybe, you know, maybe yours is different, but I just feel like even the edges, like, I mean, I wish you could see it in person, but this edge here, I don't know, it's not really coming out in the camera, but like the edges even look like there's overspray or something. Like it's just not a clean printed shirt. It looks like, I mean, like looks worn, like not worn like someone wore the shirt. Clearly it's a brand new shirt, but I mean, like it doesn't look crisp, and it looks like it's designed to look crisp. You know, you look at the sticker sheet. This is what I think they're going for. Something like this, where it's all nice and crisp and sharp. See how like nice and black and deep and sharp that is? And then you look at it over here and it's like not black, not sharp. I don't know. Maybe I'm critical on the shirt, but I don't know. It just, the quality seems a little lacking compared to other shirts that we have got in the past. So, from other, you know, even FPV crates shirts. So, to recap, we have the t-shirt, we have the 4-in-1 ESC, we have the magnetic, or kind of magnetic screw holder, we got the 3 sets of props, and we did get our sticker sheet. All right, let's run some numbers and see how this box turned out. I know what's on your mind. You want that cost analysis, and I will provide for you right there. So let's go through these line by line and we'll talk about each of these items. So first up is the HQ props, and you've heard me say this a bunch of times. I love getting props. It works out great. You get to try out new things maybe you haven't tried before, or in this case, HQ props. I love them as a brand. It's one of my go-to props. And these are, one thing I noticed is these are the V2s. I don't know necessarily what the difference is between them, but it's probably like their newest version of the 5043s. So I'm anxious to try those out and see what is up with those. But getting a couple sets of props, or actually 3 sets of props, is a really good thing, because that's enough to really see if you like what you got, and it gives you enough to really get a lot of flight time on your craft. So that is a really cool thing. Next up is that magnetic tray, and apparently I'm not the only one who didn't think it was that great of a thing. When I looked online, it was actually really easy to find. It wasn't one of these weird, difficult things. If you just search for like magnetic tray purple, you'll find a bunch of them. Pretty much the reviews were that the magnet is very weak. It doesn't really hold much. Some people were saying even the adhesive that holds the magnet down to the tray is very weak, and they had to use super glue to hold the magnet sheet in place. So overall, it seemed kind of like if I was shopping for one, I wouldn't have bought it based on those reviews, and now having it in person, I really wouldn't use it at all. Like I said, I recommend the one that we got earlier. I mean, I don't know what stores are available by you, or even if you are able to go to the store with this current situation and quarantine type stuff that's going on, but Harbor Freight sells them. Any of those ones that are like a round silver dish with the big black thing on the bottom, that big black thing's actually the magnet. That's a huge magnet to just hold things down so it doesn't fall out of the tray, because the idea is that if you were to bump it or knock it around, you don't lose the screws. And I know for sure that I keep the one I showed earlier came from my bag. I keep that in my bag because if I need to take my craft apart and you have these little screws and you drop them in a grass, you ain't finding that. You drop it on the floor, you drop it on a road, it's gone. Don't even bother looking for it. So I can just put them in my little tray. I know even if someone comes by and knocks it over, they're still in that tray. So that's what I would recommend to get. Next up is the t-shirt. And like I said, I maybe I'm being a little too critical, but it just didn't look right. Like, I don't know if it was a flaw. I don't know if it was just my shirt. Please comment down below if you got the shirt and you kind of feel the same way. Like, it kind of makes my eyes feel weird. Like, I can't focus on it properly. Like, it has fuzzy edges, and it's like if you've ever seen like printed material where like the colors are like a little off and it like just kind of looks wrong. That's kind of what this looked like, where it just wasn't done with high quality print process or something. I don't know. Something was just up with it. I mean, I like getting a shirt. I like the content of it. It's just, I think the quality was just very poor on it, or unless that's what they were going for, but I don't know why you'd want to have a poor looking shirt. But it didn't have that crisp, sharp look that you would expect that we've seen on every other shirt that we've received in any of these mystery boxes. You know, it just looked not good. So I'm still gonna wear it. I mean, it's still a cool shirt. I just wish it had a little bit better or sharper graphics or darker black. I don't know really what I'm looking for, but I don't know, missed the mark somewhere there. So I actually opened up the ESC so I could take a peek at it, and I'll show you what it came with. It comes with the ESC, obviously, and then also comes with your little goodie bag. And your goodie bag contains your pigtail to hook up your battery with, comes with a low ESR capacitor, and then also comes with 2 of the connectors to connect to a flight controller, one with the ends, both ends on. This is the one that you're supposed to use if you use it with the FPV Crate flight controller. And it also comes with one with the little metal connectors are on the ends of each of the wires. One other thing I would like to say, though, that I feel like FPV Crate must be listening, or at least checking out these videos, because when I comment about something, they do correct and fix things. So I'm hoping that this, for the good of the community, things do get improved. And one thing I really did like about this ESC is it came with a little manual, little piece of paper. Now, this doesn't seem like much, but this makes me happy because it shows how to hook it up. It gives you a little bit of stats. It tells you where little wires go. Now, on an ESC, it's not as super critical, but it's still nice that you have a little bit of documentation that came with it that tells you what you're doing with it, so that when you go to work with it, you have something to reference to assemble correctly, because if you hook it up wrong, then you got a problem. So it's good to have that in there. That upon itself is pretty cool. Now let's talk about what I'm seeing here, though. Looking at this, ESCs are, I don't know quite how to say what I want to say, but they always have like a look to them. Like each ESC, like you can look at it and kind of get a gauge of what it is. And I kind of felt like, since their flight controller was a vanity type flight controller, because I'm pretty sure FPV Crate didn't just sit down and say, let's design an ESC from scratch. I'm sure they took a reference design, or it's a vanity design or something from somewhere, and maybe just tweak it a little bit, because that's a whole heck of a lot easier and a whole heck of a lot cheaper, I'm sure. So looking through ESCs, this looks almost suspiciously, at least visually, very similar to the Flycolor ESC. Now, in this picture, I am showing the 60 amp version of the ESC. You'll notice it does have that little silver square component kind of in the middle that the Get FPV version doesn't have. And that's correct. What I mean by that is the Flycolor version, we really need to compare the 45 amp version of it, but I just cannot find a good picture of that one that shows this side of the board. It just shows the side with the aluminum plate that I think is for, cooling on the FETs. They look identical. It's just, it's missing the components that the 60 amp has. namely that silver component. So what that little silver square part is part of the BEC. It stands for a battery elimination circuit, and it allows the ESC to also have an output point for 5 volts, 3 amps power that you could use to power your camera or VTX or receiver or whatever you have that may need 5 volts, just in case your flight controller doesn't have that. So that's kind of the difference. The 45 amp is 45 amps, no BEC. The 60 amp is 60 amp with that BEC on there. But as far as visually speaking, they're identical. So that's why I'm just going to use the 60 amp picture. But note that on the 45 amp version of the Fly Color, it looks identical to the FPV Crate version. But again, as I said when I was commenting in January, I believe it was, about doing vanity versions of products that already exist, it can cause confusion. It caused confusion to me that I have to go back and redo a video because I wasn't sure what I was looking at, and I wanted to make sure I knew what I was looking at. And I was, in my opinion, kind of close, but thanks to Stephen K, I now, found the exact match to it. But what's the point? Like, why spend the time, money, and effort into rebranding an existing product with your logo and whatnot, rather than just giving us the normal, the part? Like, I don't know. I feel it seems like a little bit deceiving to be like, here's the Get FPV version. It's one thing to say, okay, here's a lollipop antenna, and we're going to put the quad box logo on top of it, like a special edition of the lollipop antenna. That's something that, I just popped into my head. That I understand. You can do an FPV Crate special edition version of something. So if they said, hey, here's a Fly Color 45 amp 4-in-1 ESC, the FPV Crate special edition, that would have been awesome, because we would have known exactly what we're getting. We would have known the quality to expect. We would have known the value about it. We would have known everything about it, and we would have known, hey, this is the special edition for FPV Crate. Instead, nothing about it mentions Fly Color, as if it's like, Fly Color, who's that? And I don't know. I don't think that's right, especially with the small community and the small selection of stuff we have to work with. I like to know what I'm working with, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And, maybe you feel a little bit differently, but that's kind of how I feel, is that, unless you're bringing something brand new, then yes, it's yours. But if you're using someone else's stuff and you're just changing silk screening on it, at least indicate what it is so we know what we're working with, or, something. I don't know. That's just me, but that's how I feel about it. However, thankfully, my rule of thumb did apply, and it did work out. My rule of thumb that I mentioned in my video that this is now replacing was that typically for ESCs, I classify them sort of like a buck an amp. So like a 30 amp 4-in-1 ESC will be about $30. A 40 amp ESC is about $40. A 50 amp ESC about $50. So I was placing, this unknown FPV Crate ESC at around $45. And it turns out the Fly Color original version of this costs like $46 and change. So, and Fly Color being a great brand, I've had pretty good luck with their ESCs that I've used in the past. So I don't have any doubt that this is going to perform, equally as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. However, like you can see, even with the correction and adding, $1 and change to my estimate, we're still pretty much, we're at a little bit over $15 or something like that, which is well below my $20 threshold. My rule of thumb, which should probably be your rule of thumb too, I feel it's a very fair rule of thumb for everyone, is that you should expect to get about $20 of value over the cost of what you pay to buy the box, because you're sacrificing choice. How a mystery box works is you give up choice, you get surprised by stuff in hopes that you get good value. And I feel $20 is that good point at where I'm very happy sacrificing choice to get an extra $20 worth of value. Lower than that, I feel like, yeah, you're kind of playing me here a little bit. More than that, dude, you're awesome. That's kind of where, and $20 is where I'm like, okay, cool. We're like $15 over. So we're not at that like happy point. We're like below as well. Also remember, I'm not too pleased with the quality on the shirt. Something just is not working for that print job that's on there. It kind of makes my eyes go cross-eyed almost, because it just looks like you want to focus and you can't focus. If I made this video a little bit out of focus, it would become annoying. That's how this is. It's just a little bit out of focus, and it's really kind of annoying to look at. And the magnetic tray, it really doesn't work. It's more like, quite frankly, I'm probably just going to toss it. So, am I happy with this box? Not really. Am I happy with the contents of the box? Props are awesome. This is, I can always use a 4-in-1 ESC 100%. The shirt, and the tray, okay. You get what I'm saying. You probably understand where I'm coming from with this analysis. It fell short on value, and what was there, I kind of had a little bit of issue with each thing. And another thing I forgot to mention. Remember that little warning thing I held up earlier where it said, make sure you use this connector? I figured out what I kind of dug out. I pulled it, it's right here. I have the FPV Crate flight controller. Here's the issue. The flight controller comes with a little pigtail. The ESC came with a pigtail. And what's the difference between these two pigtails? They're reversed. So if you try to hook up your flight controller and the ESC, both from FPV Crate, with the pigtail that came with the flight controller, you're going to have a lot of problems. Like, I don't know what will happen, but it's basically your power is over here and your motors and stuff are over. So everything's so it's going to be sending power where it shouldn't be sending power, and it's going to be, I don't know what will happen, but probably not good. Hence the little warning paper in there. You have to use the pigtail that came with the ESC, the longer of the two. That's how you can tell the difference if you get confused. This shorter one, this one came from the flight controller. The longer one came with the ESC. Why do I think this is the case? Because the flight controller is a T-motor flight controller, and it probably came with a pigtail. I'm guessing, don't quote me, but probably came with a pigtail that works with T-motor ESCs. This is not a T-motor ESC. So when they tweaked it up, they may have, left the pinouts the way they were and then realized, oh darn, if we use the cable that came with the flight controller, it's going to cause some problems. So we have to put not only a correct cable that works with our ESC and our flight controller, but put a little piece of paper in there saying, make sure you use this connector, and without saying, not the one we gave you with the flight controller, because this is not a T-motor flight controller. And in all honesty, I feel like if they really did design this, they would have done that. That would have been, it should have been universal. So I think this was a existing design, and that's why the pinout is different and why it required a different connector. So I feel like I'm just not happy, if that makes sense. Gypped on the value, and I feel like FPV Crate's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like the floundering, like there was just a lot of little things that bugged me about this box. That's what I'm trying to get at. Every single item in this box had something a little bit irky with it. The props, they weren't all the same color. Now, granted, I really don't care, but there are some people who are anal that they want to have all their props the same color. So if you have 2 packs of black and 1 pack of blue, and you break a prop and you end up having to put the blue set on with the blacks, that might annoy some people. Doesn't annoy me personally, but I could see that being an issue. Number 2, the tray, the magnet sucks, and I'm probably just going to throw it away because I don't have really any use for it at all. The t-shirt, out of focus and kind of annoying to the eyes, and just looks like it has weird blue overspray. And the ESC, like if you were not paying attention and you use the connector that you think, oh, FPV crate, 2 items, put it together, and I'll just use the pigtail that came with the flight controller. I'm going to bet you're going to fry something, because you're going to be sending basically battery voltage through like where it shouldn't be going. So I don't know what would happen, and I'm not going to try what would happen, but the fact that there's a warning label in the box to not use this pigtail and to use the one that the ESC comes with means something probably pretty spectacular can happen. So yeah, you get what I'm saying. All right. So hope that helped you out. As always, my name's Tronage. Fly strong.